What if I told you that the life you're living today, every success, every struggle, every dollar in your bank account, was authored by your thoughts long before it ever showed up in reality? That's not just philosophy, it's science. Psychology and performance coaching all rolled into one. The world around you is not a mirror of your intentions, but of your expectations. And most people, without even realizing it, walk through life wearing mental glasses that distort their true potential. They believe they're reacting to the world when in fact they're projecting it. As Tracy often says in his seminars, you are a living magnet. You attract into your life people, ideas, and circumstances that harmonize with your dominant thoughts. Your beliefs aren't idle. They are instructions. They tell your brain what to notice, what to ignore, and how to behave. In other words, what you believe, you build. But here's the challenge. Most beliefs are inherited, unchallenged, and outdated. Like ancient blueprints drawn by someone else, they shape your behavior day after day, without you even being aware of it. Imagine trying to build a skyscraper with a blueprint designed for a cottage. That's what many people are unknowingly doing with their lives. There's a phenomenon in neuroscience called the confirmation bias. Once your brain holds a belief, it starts scanning the environment to validate it, ignoring anything that contradicts it. So if you believe the world is unfair, your brain filters the billions of daily stimuli to prove you right. But flip that belief, and the world suddenly starts showing you different evidence. Let me share a story. In one of Tracy's corporate trainings, a mid-level manager named Linda confessed she believed she was not leadership material. She kept getting overlooked for promotions. But after implementing Brian's principle of mental reprogramming, changing her self-image, through affirmations and visualization, she was promoted within 90 days. Same company, same abilities. The only thing that changed? Her belief. And here's the good news. You can do the same. In the next 30 minutes, you'll learn how to identify, rewrite, and reprogram the beliefs that silently shape your outcomes. You'll discover mental strategies used by elite performers, backed by both psychology and Tracy's decades of research, that will allow you to shape a new reality with intention, not by accident. As Brian wrote in Change Your Thinking, change your life. The way you think about yourself, your abilities, and your potential has a powerful effect on how you perform and how you feel. How beliefs create reality. Every building begins with a blueprint. The walls, the wiring, the windows, they're all pre-designed, unseen yet crucial. The same is true for your life. What you see in your external world was first drafted in your internal blueprint, your beliefs. Beliefs are more than thoughts. They are thoughts you've accepted as truth, repeated so often that your subconscious mind has encoded them as commands. This blueprint, crafted from childhood experiences, education, and repeated reinforcement, acts as a silent architect. Behind your behavior, choices, and even emotions. Tracy once explained in a leadership seminar, you don't see the world as it is, you see the world as you are. And this is more than metaphor. In cognitive psychology, there's a well-documented concept called schema, mental frameworks that shape how we interpret reality. If your belief schema says money is evil, then wealth feels dangerous. If your schema says, I'm not good with people, then social success becomes self-sabotage. Here's a real-world example. A sales executive named Mark was consistently underperforming despite having strong skills. After some coaching, he revealed his father used to say, "Rich people are greedy." That belief, deeply ingrained, made him unconsciously resist success, because success felt like betrayal. Once he rewrote that belief into, wealth is a tool for good, not only did his performance increase, but he also became one of the top earners in his company within 6 months. This is not coincidence, it's construction. When you alter the blueprint, the building follows. Step-by-step application. Identify your blueprint. Take a piece of paper and draw two columns. In the left, write down key areas of your life: career, relationships, health, money. In the right, write your honest, gut-level beliefs about each. For example, I always mess things up, or healthy people are obsessed. This reveals the hidden blueprint you're operating from. Challenge the assumptions. Ask, where did this belief come from? Is it absolutely true? Who would I be without this belief? Most of your answers will unravel outdated or false narratives. Create a new blueprint. For each limiting belief, write a new empowering one. For example, I am capable of learning anything I set my mind to. Say it aloud each morning and visualize living from that truth. Reinforce with repetition. Beliefs become dominant through frequency. Speak your new beliefs daily. Write them down. Record yourself saying them and listen on repeat in the psychology of achievement. Your subconscious mind makes all your words and actions fit a pattern consistent with your self-concept, your master program. Rewriting your beliefs is not just about feeling better. It's about building a different life, brick by belief. The power of expectation. You get what you focus on. Expectation is not wishful thinking. It is a magnetic force that shapes what you perceive, what you act upon, and ultimately what you receive. Most people underestimate how their expectations silently orchestrate their outcomes. Whatever you expect with confidence becomes your own self-fulfilling prophecy. This isn't a motivational phrase. It's a psychological mechanism backed by decades of research. When you expect success, your brain works to confirm it. When you expect failure, it does the same. This is due to something called the reticular activating system, or RAS. It's a bundle of nerves in your brainstem that filters information and decides what deserves your attention. Right now, your RAS is choosing what sounds you ignore, what details you miss, and what opportunities you notice, all based on what your mind expects to find. Let's illustrate this with a simple story. In one of Brian Tracy's executive trainings, a young entrepreneur named Rebecca kept saying, "I'm not good with clients." Despite her efforts, she kept attracting difficult customers. When coached to shift her internal expectation to, "My ideal clients are already looking for me," and repeated that daily, she began to notice, almost magically, better fit clients reaching out. The truth? Her focus changed, her actions adjusted, her RAS aligned with the new expectation. The world responded. This isn't magic, it's mental targeting. Now, how can you harness this power? Write down one goal you deeply desire right now. Ask yourself, what do I truly expect will happen? Be honest. If your answer is anything less than certainty, it's time to realign. Here's the exercise. Create a simple affirmation that matches your desired expectation. For example, every day I move closer to earning my first 6 figures, or I naturally attract meaningful opportunities. Repeat this affirmation aloud every morning and night. The tone matters. Say it as if it's already unfolding. Visualize for 1 minute what it looks like to live in alignment with that expectation. Feel it, see it, believe it. Your brain needs consistent signals. And when expectation becomes your emotional set point, your actions and outcomes follow in sync. In maximum achievement, you begin to become what you think about most of the time. The truth is, life gives you not what you want, but what you expect. So the question becomes, what are you expecting today? From thought to form. The law of concentration. Imagine planting a seed in your mind. Every time you think about that idea, you're watering it. Over time, with enough focus, it grows into behavior, habit, and finally, reality. This is the essence of the law of concentration. Whatever you dwell upon expands. Brian Tracy explains this principle clearly. The more you think about something, the more it becomes part of your mental reality. And what is real in your mind becomes real in your world. It's not just a nice idea. It's how your brain builds habits and turns abstract thoughts into concrete action. Let's make it practical. Think about how often you've repeated a worry. Maybe about money, about health. The more you revisit that thought, the more real it becomes, until you begin acting from fear rather than possibility. The law of concentration doesn't judge the quality of your thoughts. It simply magnifies them. Neuroscience backs this up. Your brain operates on the principle of neuroplasticity. When you focus consistently on a thought, you reinforce the neural pathway related to that idea. Over time, this becomes your dominant lens through which you view the world. Let's look at an example. In one of Brian Tracy's coaching programs, a man named Carlos had a dream of becoming a public speaker. But he constantly thought, "I'll freeze on stage." And guess what? He did. When guided to concentrate daily on a new thought, "Every speech is a gift I give," he began visualizing success, reinforcing the new pattern. Within months, Carlos not only spoke confidently, but became a regional keynote speaker. The law of concentration transformed a fear into a strength, and it can do the same for you. Choose a dominant goal or thought you want to reinforce. Write it in clear, affirmative language. Dedicate 5 minutes each day to concentrate on that thought. Close your eyes. See yourself living from that reality. Repeat it internally. Throughout the day, catch yourself when your mind wanders to conflicting ideas. Gently bring it back to your chosen thought. Think of it like training a muscle. Each repetition strengthens it. Create visual cues. Post a written version of your chosen thought near your workspace, on your bathroom mirror, or in your car. Whatever you think about most of the time grows in your life. Whatever you think about less shrinks and disappears. What you focus on is what forms. Choose your concentration wisely. Emotional magnetism. Feelings as creative fuel. Thoughts are powerful, but emotions are the fuel that drive them into reality. Without emotion, thoughts remain static, like blueprints never brought to life. But when emotion is infused, the blueprint ignites. It becomes magnetic. That emotion multiplies the intensity of your thoughts, either accelerating success or anchoring you in fear. He says you must emotionalize your goals. The more you feel them, the faster you move toward them. This isn't just motivational talk. It's how your subconscious mind responds. Emotion signals importance. Think of a memory from childhood. What comes first, the event or the feeling? Often, it's the feeling. Why? Because emotions are sticky. They bind experiences into long-term memory. The same mechanism works for belief. When you feel a thought deeply, it roots faster, stronger, deeper. There's a term in psychology called emotional encoding. It means that any thought paired with emotion has a greater chance of repetition, recall, and action. That's why a fearful thought like, "I'm going to fail," when felt intensely, can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Let me share a quick story. A woman named Eliza wanted to start a wellness business. She believed in the idea but lacked confidence. When asked to describe how she'd feel once it succeeded, her whole posture changed. She smiled, sat up straighter, and spoke with passion. Her coach had her sit in that emotional state for 5 minutes daily. Within weeks, she not only launched the business, but began attracting her first clients. She stopped waiting for external success to feel good. She felt good first, and success followed. This is emotional magnetism. It means using your feelings as creative energy. Choose one goal that matters deeply to you. Write it down as if it has already happened. For example, "I am living with complete financial freedom." Ask yourself, what does that feel like? Not just mentally, but physically. Do your shoulders drop? Does your chest lift? Notice the shift. Spend 3 minutes each morning fully experiencing that emotion. Smile. Move. Speak from that place. Throughout your day, when you drift into doubt, pause and recall that emotional state. Anchor yourself back to the feeling. Your emotions either pull you forward or drag you down. Master them, and you master your future. Feeling is the secret. What you feel, you attract. What you repeat, you become. The inner dialogue, rewriting the mental script. Every day, without realizing it, you're narrating your life. That inner voice, the one commenting on your actions, your worth, your chances, is not just background noise. It's a script, and it directs your destiny. Tracy emphasizes, you become what you say to yourself most of the time. The problem is, most of that self-talk is unconscious, outdated, and often destructive. Phrases like, I'm not good enough, I never finish anything, or success isn't for me, repeat silently until they become identity. Psychologists call this internal script automatic negative thoughts, or ANTs. These are habitual messages the brain delivers, often formed during childhood, reinforced by repetition, and rarely questioned. Left unchecked, they hardwire the brain to expect failure, avoid risk, and self-sabotage. Consider the case of a young man named Jordan. Despite being skilled and qualified, he constantly said to himself, I always mess up in interviews. Unsurprisingly, his anxiety would spike during interviews and he'd perform poorly. After coaching, he began practicing a new script. Every interview is a chance to connect. I'm calm and confident. Within weeks, he landed his ideal job, not because he changed skills, but because he changed his story. Here's how you can rewrite your own mental script. Listen consciously. For one day, carry a small notebook. Each time you hear your inner voice criticize, doubt, or limit you, jot it down. Identify patterns. At the end of the day, review your notes. What phrases repeat? Which ones do the most damage? Create counterscripts. For each negative line, write a new phrase rooted in truth and possibility. For example, change I'm bad with money to I'm learning to manage money wisely. Repeat with emotion. Say your new phrases aloud every morning. Look in the mirror. Speak with certainty. Your subconscious responds to repetition and intensity. Reinforce with environment. Surround yourself with visual cues, empowering people, and content that echoes your new script. You can't afford the luxury of a negative thought. Your self-talk is not commentary. It's command. Change the story, and you change the result. And remember, if you wouldn't say it to a child you love, don't say it to yourself. Visualization and verbalization. Tools of mental construction. Everything you see around you was first imagined. The chair you sit in, the phone in your hand, the building you live in, all began as mental pictures. The same applies to your goals, your confidence, and your success. They start with vision, and they come to life through words. Tracy teaches that all great achievements begin with two mental tools, visualization and verbalization. When you see something clearly in your mind and affirm it out loud with conviction, you give your subconscious mind a blueprint it will work day and night to fulfill. There's a principle in sports psychology called mental rehearsal. Olympic athletes use it constantly. Before a race, they visualize every step, every movement, every sensation. Their brains fire the same neurons as if they were actually competing. The result? Stronger performance, reduced anxiety, and faster results. This isn't limited to athletes. In one of Tracy's workshops, a small business owner named Daniel began visualizing himself closing high-ticket deals. Every morning, he'd picture the handshake, hear the congratulatory words, and feel the confidence. Within a few months, his real-life results caught up with his mental movie. Visualization activates your reticular activating system, It filters your awareness toward what aligns with your internal images. Verbalization reinforces those images through repetition and emotion, embedding them even deeper. Create a mental movie. Each morning, close your eyes for 3 minutes and see your ideal future. Not vague images, specific scenes. Where are you? What are you wearing? Who's with you? What do you hear? Add emotion. As you visualize, feel the excitement, gratitude, and pride. Emotion makes the image stick. Speak it out loud. After your visualization, speak a phrase that sums up the goal. For example, I lead a team that transforms lives. Or, I wake up every day fulfilled and financially free. Record and repeat. Record your voice saying this affirmation and listen to it during commutes or before bed. Act as if. Throughout the day, behave as if your vision is already unfolding. This aligns your decisions with your future. These tools cost nothing, yet they've built empires, transformed lives, and shaped the world's greatest achievements. Mental discipline, sustaining the new reality. Building a new reality is only the beginning. The real challenge is sustaining it. Just like physical fitness requires consistent exercise, mental transformation demands daily discipline. Without it, old patterns quietly return, and your new reality dissolves back into wishful thinking. Brian often says, successful people are simply those with successful habits. Mental discipline is the habit that ensures your beliefs, focus, and behavior stay aligned with the life you're constructing. It is not about perfection, it's about consistency. Think of your mind like a garden. You can plant powerful seeds, beliefs, visualizations, expectations, but if you don't tend to them, weeds return. And the most dangerous weeds are doubt, distraction, and discouragement. Discipline is your daily act of pulling them out before they take root. Let me share an example. A corporate leader named Susan began implementing visualization, affirmations, and goal setting after attending one of Brian Tracy's seminars. She saw rapid progress, but after a few months, she became too busy and dropped the practices. Slowly, her clarity faded, her stress increased, and her confidence eroded. Once she reinstated a simple daily mental routine, her results came back and stayed. In his book, No Excuses, Brian Tracy writes, "Discipline is the bridge between thought and accomplishment. Every act of discipline moves you one step closer to your dream." This topic isn't flashy, but it is fundamental. Without discipline, your beliefs will fade. With it, they crystallize into a life few dare to imagine. Every brick of your current reality was once a thought. What you imagined, believed, feared, or repeated eventually found form, sometimes in subtle ways, sometimes as major life outcomes. The journey you've just taken reveals a truth most never realize. You are not merely living life. You are building it. We began by uncovering the hidden blueprint within, the set of beliefs, often unconscious, that silently shape your direction. Then we saw how expectation programs your mind to scan for what aligns with your dominant thoughts. We explored the law of concentration, proving that what you focus on expands. Emotion entered the picture as a powerful magnet, turning ideas into visceral drivers of change. You learned how to confront and rewrite your inner dialogue, because your self-talk becomes your instruction manual. We went deeper into the tools of visualization and verbalization, which elite performers use to build extraordinary results from nothing but imagination and words. And finally, we faced the discipline it takes to make all this last. The commitment to train your mind daily so your external world never slips backward. In Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. The law of belief says that whatever you believe with feeling becomes your reality. You now know this is not just a motivational idea. It's a system, a method, a way to live. So what comes next? Grab a pen. Write down the belief that has held you back the most. Now, Rewrite it into a declaration of power. Read it aloud. Feel it. Begin repeating it daily. Then choose one morning routine to anchor your mind. One visualization to begin practicing. One affirmation to adopt. Start small, but start now. The mind is your construction site, and from this moment on, you are the architect. Build wisely, build boldly, and above all, believe it, because what you believe, you build.